Locked On White Sox is back, so please allow me to introduce myself.
You are Locked On White Sox, your daily Chicago White Sox podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, I'm Todd Welter, a lifelong Sox fan, going back to sitting in the green seats of Old Comiskey Park. I'm also the site expert of Southside Showdown, part of the Fan-Sided Network. And this is Locked On White Sox, part of the Locked On Network, your team every day. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts like Spotify and Apple. So the show's been on hiatus since August, but Locked On White Sox is back. I am your new host. Went through the interview process. They put me through the combine. My raw hitting power was not graded out so well, but I got the speed and I got the fielding. So I'm the new host. Nick had to depart, obviously, from the show in August, and he's doing well. Talk to him regularly through Twitter, slid into his DMs appropriately. He's doing great, got his endorsement. Today, I'll go over my background as a Sox fan, so you know who will be talking White Sox baseball with you every day. We'll then tackle Yoan Moncada's latest injury and probably his career being done with the White Sox. And then we'll wrap up with the tear Gavin Sheets is on. Today's show is brought to you by eBay Motors. From brakes to exhaust kits and beyond, eBay Motors has over 122 million parts to keep your ride or die alive. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to bring home that big win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay guaranteed fit only available to U.S. customers. All right. So why am I going to talk about White Sox baseball 5 days a week when they're projected to lose more than 90 games? And as we've seen, they're terrible. They have 2 wins. 2. So why do this? Well, the White Sox community is a fantastic community. From the 108, outstanding people. Southside Sox, Sox on 35th. Just the entire, if you go on X, I know X, formerly Twitter, can be just a toxic place, but the White Sox community is outstanding. And I want to interact with everybody like you. We are a unique group of people. We willingly choose to root for this team. Because if we went along with the crowd, we would be rooting for the Cubs. But no, we choose the Chicago White Sox. We choose you. We choose this team, even though we're in a toxic relationship, even though we have an owner who exploits that and then blames us if we don't come out, if we actually dare hold them accountable and say, you know what? I'm not coming. I'm not paying for this product. And he says, well, we can't spend. Also, the White Sox, to me, I have a very, I come from a baseball family. We love baseball in my family. My grandpa he started as a White Sox fan. They went to cable. He believed television should be free. So he immediately became a Cubs fan. So growing up, him and I would always debate White Sox and Cubs. My dad he was part of a season ticket package. And when I was born, my dad was almost 40 when I was born, and he had some physical ailments that really impacted his elbow and his shoulder. So he wasn't able to really, we didn't have a lot of, hey, Dad, you want to have a catch moments. But we had those at Comiskey and at the time, New Comiskey, because he could take me to the games. We would sit on the third base side. We would enjoy our Scott Peterson dogs because I remember him being like, "Hey, they're $1.75. That's cheap." Got to remember this is the mid '90s. But we'd sit there and we would have our Scott Peterson dogs and drink out of the souvenir cups and just have those father-son moments. And my dad's also a pretty big guy, in terms of strength. He could bench press 400 pounds at a time. And he's from that generation that, they're intimidation or fear to keep you in line. So I grew up a lot of times fearing my dad, but when he took me to the ballpark, I was never afraid of him. Also, again, going back to the uniqueness, if you're watching on YouTube, I got my Johnsburg Skyhawks t-shirt on. Grew up in Johnsburg, Illinois, far northwest suburbs. And yes, it is a suburb. We have a metro line, technically, McHenry. But it's a suburb. I know it drives, the true Chicagoan nuts. I don't make the rules, and I've just been told that that's the classification of suburbs. But that was some hardcore Cubs country, and yet I'm a White Sox fan. And I didn't have, a lot of my friends, they were Cubs fans. I think the best man in my wedding and one of my great friends growing up, he was a Sox fan, and I think there was like 3 other guys I grew up that were Sox fans. And we always felt that we were unique, that we chose the good baseball team, that there was nothing lovable about losing. Even though, again, I get right now, if you want to hit the eject button on the White Sox, Jerry Reinsdorf is a terrible owner. He wants you to spend your taxpayer dollars, if you live in the Chicagoland area, on his new stadium, but he won't spend hardly any of his own money. He won't, from the proposals, he's not spending any of his money for this new stadium, and he won't spend it on the team. And he was lazy in his general manager search. Just promoted Chris Getz. This is like the Blackhawks of the early 2000s with Old Man Wirtz. So I get if you want to have that apathy, and if you just want to be like, you know what, I'm done. Bring me back when there's a new owner who hopefully keeps this team in Chicago and, is willing to pay for his stadium and then hopefully does the changes that Rocky Wirtz did with the Blackhawks. Just hopefully doesn't cover up a sexual assault, but does all that stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. But for those that are staying, that's why I'm here. I hope to interact with you every day. Just some background too, in case of like what stats am I usually going to cite? I cite slash line, home runs, WRC plus, and F4 for the hitters. I'm still a traditionalist, OPS too. I get those numbers. WRC plus, and F4, that's a lot of those value numbers as a hitter that I really like. Yeah, I'll dive into the other stuff, but the way I look at it, all the other numbers, and they're important, those are the numbers that'll either explain why somebody is just god awful, or it just amplifies, hey, they're doing great. So that's why I'll stick to the simple stuff. And then if I need to elaborate, I'll dive into those numbers. Pitchers, ERA, strikeouts, whip, FIP, and F4. Fielding independent pitching is a big stat to me too. The FIP. And I'm not going to cite wins because pitchers aren't really going, it's not like this isn't the 1970s anymore. Okay, these pitchers are going maybe 5 innings. They're not really the reason they won the team won the game. So I don't care about wins and losses anymore. And if you don't like it, check a calendar. It's 2024. I also hope to entertain you, inform you, maybe challenge you, or hey, reinforce you. Maybe you're thinking something. You're like, man, I might be crazy. And it turns out, no, I think the same way. So, hey, that's kind of what I hope to do. I'm not going to try to be a reporter here. I'll try to get some guests on as I get more comfortable running this. And I just hope to keep bringing your team every day. So when we get back, I'm going to talk about Yoan Moncada's latest injury that's going to probably knock him out for the season. So life insurance, yeah, something we don't always want to talking about. I know my wife got on me saying, "Hey, we need to take out a policy just in case something happens." Morbid, I know, but necessary. You need that safety net for your family, for if you're a caregiver, that type of stuff. You need that safety net. But trying to find the right policy on your own can be time consuming and overwhelming. Maybe you don't want to deal with an agent consistently hounding you to buy a policy. Maybe you are no longer 21 and don't have a buddy who got that first job as a life insurance salesman. I'm talking about you, Scott Hansen. Then try Policy Genius. Policy Genius is the country's leading online insurance marketplace. It saves you time and money so you can provide your family with a financial safety net starting today. With Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million of coverage. Some options offer same-day approval and avoid unnecessary medical exams. Policy Genius is the country's leading online insurance marketplace. I'm a parent. I have a life insurance policy, and I know that God forbid something happens to me, I know my wife has that policy to help out covering losing that second income. I thought for a while the policy I have through my 9-to-5 job was good enough. Not so. Plus, it can never hurt to have that little extra coverage. Policy Genius helps you compare your options from top companies, and their team of licensed experts is on hand to help talk you through it. Talk to a team of award-winning agents who will walk you through the process step by step that gives you unbiased advice from the licensed expert support team. Easily compare quotes from America's top insurers in just a few clicks to find your lowest price. They have no incentive to recommend one insurer over the other, so you can trust their guidance. Thousands of 5-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot from customers who find the best fit for their needs. Check life insurance off your to-do list with Policy Genius. Head to policygenius.com/lockedonmlb or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. That's policygenius.com/lockedonmlb. Passion, drive, and patience, the formula of winning championships. Also, what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only in the U.S., only for U.S. customers. And welcome back to Locked On White Sox. Hey, are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all of that shouting, screaming Stephen A. Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, folks, tell me if you've heard this before. Yoan Moncada is hurt. That's right. He left Monday's game with a left adductor strain. And the news has come out after the medical diagnostics, and he's going to be out 3 to 6 months. So that probably means Yoan Moncada is out for the season. He was off to a great start. 282, 364, 410 slash line in 11 games. And then he was running to first base in the second inning and pulled up in obvious pain. I mean, it looked bad. He was definitely hurting. Now he was dealing with a hip issue that manager Pedro Grifol revealed before the game, said he was going to be able to play through it. And then boom, strained the adductor. And he's out again. And various ailments have basically limited Yoan Moncada to miss 129 games over the past 2 seasons. I mean, he's basically been dealing with injuries his entire career. Played in 104 games in 2022, and then a bad back wiped out pretty much all of his 2023 season. He only played 91 games. And I know, hey, Eloy Jimenez and Luis Robert Jr., they're now on the IL too with soft tissue injuries. And I know we got to be thinking, what is going on with this training staff? But you got to remember, they fired the previous training staff and brought the new training staff in. So at some point, you got to start wondering, how are these guys taking care of themselves? Are they just, their genetics and their body make them susceptible to injuries? And that's what destroyed this title window. According to Ryan McGuffey, he tweeted this. Ryan McGuffey with NBC Sports: Luis Robert Jr., Yoan Moncada, and Eloy Jimenez have been teammates since 2020. The Sox have played 557 games since the start of the 2020 season, and Robert Jr., Moncada, and Jimenez have played in just 161 games together. That is 28.9% of those games. You can check that out at RyanMcGuffey.com. I mean, Ryan McGuffey on X. The Sox cannot depend on this core of players. And Moncada is the team's highest paid player. It's time to move on. This injury is probably the nail in the coffin of his White Sox career. He struggled in his first year in 2018, had that career year in 2019 with a 315, 367, 548 slash line, had 25 home runs, a WRC plus of 139, and he was a 5.2 F4. And then the numbers dropped in 2021. And when he has played, his value numbers have just plummeted. He was a 0.8 F4 in 2022, 1.1 in 2023, had a WRC plus of 76 in 2022, and he was 98 WRC plus last year. So even when he's healthy, he just hasn't produced. Now, the hope was he'd stay healthy. He'd be the number 2 hitter in the lineup. He would bunt sometimes, which, another core belief of mine, don't bunt unless it's the bottom of the 9th and beyond. Stop giving up outs and just stop taking bats out of hitters' hands. This isn't 1959 anymore. Please stop. And the Sox did that last night with Linnea and Sosa twice. And then the next time they put the bat in his hands, he smacks a double. Drives me nuts. But Yoan Moncada hurt again. Probably going to be out for the year. And thankfully, the Sox do have an off-ramp because they can decline his $25 million club option for next season once this season's over. And there's no way you're paying $25 million for him. The downside is he now has no trade value. Can't move him. You're going to lose him for nothing. But at this point, you're not getting anything from him anyway. So you might as well move on. And trust me, I love the potential of Yoan Moncada, but availability is the greatest ability. All right, we're going to talk about Gavin Sheets being on a tear next on Locked On White Sox. Hey, it's playoff time in the NBA and NHL. Baseball's in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every game. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150 win or lose. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on the app that is safe and secure and easy to use. Now, I've never been one to wager on a game. I once put a future bet on the Bears to win the Super Bowl, and they went 5-11. That was Mark Trestman's final year. Just telling you my betting background. Once I took this hosting gig, though, I asked around on my group text chat if anyone's using it. My old college roommate immediately said, loves FanDuel. Loves it. I need to get on there right now. Loves the experience, loves the ability to put together some creative parlays just to make the game day experience that much better. And when he's betting for every game to go into overtime, he doesn't have to wager much to see if that future will pay off. You know, that was seems appealing to me. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/locked on and make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. All right, well, if you've stuck with me this long, I really appreciate it. And if you are sticking with me this long and maybe cutting your grass, because that's when I like to listen to my podcasts, you know, I truly hope that the grass isn't that thick right now and that you're just cutting through it smooth. And I know you have a lot of podcast options, so I appreciate you sticking with me. You know, CHGO Locked On, or CHGO White Sox, great podcast. The Au, the guy, the stuff that the guys from the 108, also another good one. Nick is, he's got his Good Guys Talk Black. Make sure to still, listen to him. Sox Machine, they're fantastic. So obviously, I'm willing to play nice in the sandbox, but hopefully you listen to me first and then you move on to the next one. Sox in the Basement. I know Southside Sox, Sox on 35th. They also do some good content as well. So we can all play nice in the sandbox. We all love the White Sox. And also, just I talked to Herb. He was two hosts before. He endorses me, and hopefully you're enjoying what you're listening to. So Gavin Sheets, absolutely on a tear. If you did not have that on your bingo card, well, you can join me because I didn't see this one coming. Gavin Sheets coming in last year had a 203, 267, 331 slash line, did hit 10 home runs. He's off to a over 300 start. Had just an absolute blast last night against Cleveland. Also had 2 more hits in the game. The ball must be like a beach ball to him because he is just crushing it. And he's one of the guys that the Sox are going to need to step up to cover while Luis Robert Jr. is out. And Eloy. He's covering the DH spot. Did play first base yesterday. So Andrew Vaughn was actually in the DH. Andrew Vaughn, another guy that needs to step up. He's in a huge funk. He's got to get out of it because these are the 2 guys that are going to have to carry the Sox offense, at least from a power standpoint. There's not many power bats left in the lineup now that Moncada, Robert Jr., and Eloy are on the IL. Eloy supposedly should be back soon. By soon, we don't know when. I mean, they say he's starting to feel better. I'd probably predict 2 weeks. Robert Jr. supposedly is going to be out for 2 months. And as you could tell, we lost Yoan Moncada for pretty much the rest of the season. Now, he could come back. It's 3 to 6 months. But I wouldn't bet on him returning. I think he's done. That looked really bad. They're saying it's a strain. That looked like one of the most painful strains I would see. But getting back to Sheets, I mean, he's just seeing the ball well. He's on one of those tears, and I was seeing around on social media people wondering, I don't know if he's going to be good through the rest of the season, but he's good right now, and that's what they need. I mean, because the biggest thing is right now we just need guys to watch. This is going to be a bad season. So what you want to measure is the individuals. You want to look at how is Garrett Crochet pitching? How is Michael Soroka and Chris Flexen pitching? Because they can be flipped at the deadline. Eric Fetty, can he be kind of a middle bridge gap starter until some of these pitching prospects are ready? Hitting wise, it was supposed to be Luis Robert Jr., but he's not here right now. And there's not a lot of, long-term hitters right now besides Vaughn. Corey Lee needs to be the everyday catcher. That's my catcher. That's my guy. Max Stassi, when he's ready, DFA him. Martin Maldonado, what is it you say you do here? And we'll get into him on the next show. Going to do a what is it you say you do here segment once a week. But we just got to, we need something to watch. And right now, Gavin Sheets is the guy to watch. He has a WRC plus right now of 229. The guy finished with a 61 WRC plus last year. That's insane. He's on a tear. Now, I doubt he's going to keep this up, but at least he's keeping it up at the time we need it, because this start's been rough. Thankfully, if you don't have a lot of expectations, you can survive it. Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of Locked On White Sox. Tomorrow on the show, I'll discuss if the Sox lost out on a chance to get better prospects had they traded Dylan Cease to the Reds, since the Sox take on the Reds in a 3-game series. Let me know your thoughts on today's topic regarding Moncada's injury and Sheets' hit streak. You can reach out to me on Twitter, X, formerly Twitter, at ToddJDub, or you can email me at lockedonwhitesox@gmail.com. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.